Hello, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Adobe Live. We will have an amazing session today because we are here with the amazing Goldie Chan, who is a creative and a new author of personal branding for introverts. And this is like a shiny new book that has it like hit the shelves yet, or is it about? No, you're launching it soon.
It's launching on October 28th, so it is not even out yet. Everybody gets to see this early copy of the book, and it mentions, of course, Adobe in the book, because why wouldn't I mention my favorite my favorite design software in my book? So,
Oh my goodness. So we are getting the inside scoop, everyone. We are definitely here for a treat. So as we get started, I want to make sure that we say hi to people in the chat, just hanging out with us. So we have Jack Watson moderating. Hey Jack, so good to see you. We have Danet. Let me go to Behance. I have to refresh. Sorry about that. We have Sean too. Hello, hello. We have Drew as well. Thank you so much for hanging out. I mean, Goldie, you have so much to talk about today. So let me just pass the mic on to you. Introduce yourself, tell us everything that you want to share, and let's get cracking.
let's do it. So, Izzy, I'm so glad we get to do a live together. This is so fun. So, hi everyone. Just like Izzy said, I'm a creative. I love to make cool stuff. And for so many of us, making cool stuff means opening up Adobe. And so we're going to go over to Adobe Illustrator right now. And we are going to go through a project that I've been working on. So when I get stressed out, I think this is a fun way to start. When I get stressed out, the first thing I think is I should be creating more things in Adobe. So what I've been doing is I've been creating bookmarks, I've been creating stickers, I've been creating so many different assets using Adobe. This one is actually what's called a book plate. So you'd take this and you'd make a little sticker out of it, I'd sign it, and then it goes directly into the inside cover of my amazing book. So this is a cool book plate design. As you can see, the design on the left, this one is more of a plain traditional version. And then the one on the right, I really wanted it to look like something that you'd see at an old school library. Izzy, I don't know if you ever used to go to libraries when you were a kid, but I definitely did.
I definitely did. I remember taking like a lot of books, never reading them, and then returning them late and getting like, a
Getting the
slap on my
fine.
head. Yes.
You know what? I think all of us absolutely have been there. Hopefully you didn't get too many late fines for that. But anyway, so to me, a library, glossing right over that, a library is one of my favorite memories. So I wanted to make an asset that helps promote my book that reminds me of a local library. Now, we are also here to talk about something really, really fun, and I want to make sure that we talk about at the top of this, which is Pantone. So, also to not be a nerd, but actually, if we can switch over to the screen so I can just show it. So, I actually have I have my Pantone cup. With this was the Pantone Color of the Year in 2017, and then I even have my Pantone pens. I am all Pantoned out. If Pantone makes a green product, I probably own it. I even have somewhere the green bear bricks that Lego and Pantone, or the bear bricks that Bear Brick and Pantone made together. So let's go back to Illustrator. Thank you so much. Um, as we're in Illustrator, I want to show you some of the things that maybe you know, maybe you don't know that exist with Pantone. So now there's Pantone Connect. That's specifically an add-on in Illustrator. So I'm in the design tab right now. I've locked in for sure and logged in to my Connect Premium. And what I'm going to do here is really easy. I'm going to pick different colors. So I've selected the background on this amazing library inspired illustration I've done. And as I go through, it's so easy to basically apply and add these colors. So I'm going to go ahead and just click through some of these colors because maybe what I want is now that I've designed this, I want to change the color to something that's more complementary. I want to change it to something else. And as we go through, we can see it's so easy to pick and immediately change. And I can even go into this other one and do the same process. I can change the colors pretty simply. It is such an easy process to go do color picking. And in fact, what I can also do is right now I'm in Fashion Home and Interior System, which is honestly not the color system that I normally use. So I'm going to go through and pick, I don't know about Izzy, which color you use, which one you normally use. I'm going to do the one for graphics. So let's go through and click on this
Let's
one.
do that.
Yeah, let's do this one. And as you can see, there's so many colors. Actually, Izzy, this is a great time to ask, what is your favorite color?
So I'm the type of person, I don't know if you are like that too, but I don't have a favorite color. I have a favorite color of the moment.
Mm,
Because
what
I
is
feel
it? So we
like,
can try to find it right now.
I mean, right now, this would be the color because I'm getting married in 6 weeks, and that's the accent color for our
Really?
wedding.
This is the
So,
accent color? This is
yes, yeah.
amazing.
So
I
as
love
if
it.
you picked it out, that's super cool.
That's so
Um,
fun.
so this is the color of the moment for me
Okay.
right now, like a
Okay, I love it.
cherry, like yeah.
Cherry pinkish red. You know what? I'm going to
Yes,
leave
yeah.
this color then, and I'm going to instead pick colors on this one. So it's so funny because you say color of the moment, and I think I have two favorite colors. So my favorite color of all time is any shade of green because green, my book is green. Truly everything is green. I have green plants in the background. But I always have a secondary complementary color that I like. And for me, that's probably right now the lavender. You know, I just
Mm.
love a good lavender. And so I think with lavender, it's such a pretty color. It's such a good color to pick to complement green. So to me, it's just a nice color that we can go through. But I'm
I
picking
feel
through.
like it's very you as well. Like
Thank you.
when I think about you, because lavender has this like calming effect on well, you know, when you even smell lavender, like when
Yeah,
you go to bed, they say put like lavender oil on your pillow, and like this, you're very colorful, you're very like energetic, but you also ground people. So I feel like this is very fitting for your
my
brand.
gosh. I am, and please, everyone who listening to this live stream, I'm only paying Izzy $50 to say that. So no, but okay, so we have actually, I think it's kind of fun. Right now we have a calming color, and right now we have a less calming color. We have a really intense cherry red color. What I want to do is also show some other things that you can do in Pantone right now. So I'm in the Pantone extended gamut coded Pantone matching system PMS for graphics version. But what we're going to do is we can also look for specific colors. We can actually do that, but we can also look at the list
Oh,
of colors. So for those of us, I have one of my old paper color books somewhere. I'm sure Izzy, you have one of those somewhere too, the physical color books that we used to
yep,
have to reference all of the physical books
yep.
and you have to flip through. So I always think as list version or Pantone Connect reminds me of flipping through those colors and then doing literally like having to hold up that color and seeing what it looks like next to something. I remember doing that. Did you ever do that when you were designing?
Oh my gosh, yes. And then also even doing brands for our clients, it was finding the because there's two types of Pantones if I recall.
Right?
There's one that is for like a more glossy paper and then a more
Yes.
matted paper. And
Yes.
I would like try to match like the two, and sometimes specifically for purples and blues, it's
Right.
the hardest color to
Artist.
reproduce. So I was like pulling my hair.
Yeah, this is uncoated color. And in fact, because
Yes.
I wanted to show my book, which looks like this, Izzy, can you show your book, which is a beautiful book? I'd
Oh,
love to see it. And
yes.
let's switch over to Izzy really quick.
This this is my new book. It came out yesterday in Canada. It came out last week in the
Yay.
US, but also using specialty inks inside, like the white and the silver that we see on top. Let me see if I can find some
Yeah,
silver inside
let's flip through it a little
quickly.
bit because I know that there's so many beautiful graphics also in that physical
I mean,
book, but I
like
love that you
this is
talked
a
about. Oh my God, so
like
cool.
a yeah, silver
So
color right
cool.
here. It's so cool. I'm so happy
So,
about it. Thank you for plugging it.
yeah, of course, your book is amazing. And I wanted to say because you talked about uncoated, so let's go back to Illustrator again. So, right now, I'm in one of the uncoated PMS for graphics. And this one is if I was printing out uncoated. And actually, this is perfect timing. I'm going to take out physical items out of this box that's sitting next to me. So excuse me as I do this, but this is an uncoated version, final version of my bookmark. And as you can see with the color on a final gloss version of something like this is going to appear different. So it's really important that you get the right
Yes.
Pantone color of uncoated versus coated. And I think I have even right here with me I have some coded versions that are slightly, I'm trying to like open this box, which I should have already had open. I have this glossy version. If you can see it, there's a little bit of gloss on it. And so the color green is different on this than it is on the back, which is then an uncoated version. But let's go back to Illustrator really quickly. And for everyone in chat too, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Izzy and I are here to answer your amazing, thoughtful, wonderful questions. So I'm just clicking through and I'm just showing what it looks like to go through the list. And once again, I like doing this because I'm also very much like, can I look at 12 different colors and really decide which one is the right color, right? I don't know if you do this
Hey.
too, where you're like, I'm just not sure. I think this is the right color. Here's what I'm going to also show. So from here, say I like this color. It's a beautiful, like whitish lavender. I can click on this plus mark and that will apply and add it to the swatch. Also, if I hover over, I can see that this is 9345U, which is very cool. Very cool to have that in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go click on all again. And then here we have all of our different colors. And just clicking through really quickly, I can also navigate to different hues.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know if people know this, but this is such an easy navigator. So I live only, like, I'm trying to scroll between it. I live like from here to here, right? Like from the start of the greenish yellow to the end of the greenish yellow. This is my happy place. I like to live, for my primary colors that I use in different projects that I create. I like to live in just this zone. There's also filters where you can look at, uh, for example, the position in books. You can look at the hue groups, which is pretty cool. So like these are
Hmm.
all similar hues batched together. It is just I can look at it once again in grid, which I kind of like because I like being able to see everything in one go. And right here is actually another
Hmm.
color palette that I was working on called Peachy Keen because it's adorable. What I can do here is say I like this lavender, I can immediately drag it into this Peachy Keen palette. So now it's really easy to add colors into my palette. So instead of trying to remember or creating a separate palette, I can do this all in Pantone. In fact, I'm going to add this other kind of orangey color because that feels like a pretty good palette. I just realized it's called Peachy Keen and I didn't have peaches. So I needed to add I needed to add in a couple of peaches. So you know what? We're gonna also add in
There
this.
you go.
These two are feel like now it makes my palette truly peachy
Complete.
keen and complete. Izzy, one question that I have is when you're thinking also about designing color palettes for clients or you're working on projects, how do you think about that starting color or that starting couple of colors when you're doing that palette?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
I know that's a massive question.
it is a
So,
massive question. So, a lot of intuition for me
right.
personally, because I mean, I study like the meanings of colors and the symbolism of colors a lot.
Mhm.
And depending on the positioning of the business and what they're trying to render as the emotion that they want the audience to feel, like that's
Right.
how I usually like start. And then it's like, hey, like whenever I present a mood board, and I usually put a like a color palette in my mood boards as well, and it'd be like, is this the feeling you're trying to render? Yes or no? Have I missed the
Right.
mark or hit the mark?
Right.
And that's where we have conversations. But it's very an intuitive thing for
Mm.
me.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's the thing about a lot of designers or artistic folks, is you just know when a color works out, right?
exactly.
Like
Yeah,
if you look at this very simple palette I kind of picked off the top of my head, I think there's always like a gut feeling about how colors fit together on a gut level. And you can
yeah.
tell, and of course, there's always color wheel theory, right? Like we can go opposite colors and things like that. I will say this is totally personal and maybe a little, not exactly right for this live stream. I went on a couple dates with this guy and he had bright red hair. And at the
Oh my
time,
goodness,
I had bright
literally.
green hair and it was too much because we were like stop and go signs together. And I'm this horrible person. So I said, I think you need to change your hair color if we date because I'm not changing my hair color. And it was the fire engine red. So it was like very much bright green and bright red. And I was like, you need to either go like a paler red, right? Like more of like this red, the cherry red,
Yeah.
or like a pinkish red. And I gave him a lot of ideas for other red colors that he
Oh
could
my
do.
gosh.
Yeah,
We're getting the tea today, chat.
I'm just saying we're getting
Like,
some personal tea from me, Gold
yeah.
Chan. Okay, so I just went into another tab. Here we go. These are some of the other palettes that I've been working on. So this is my book palette. In fact, I'm going to hold up my book in the tiny little corner so hopefully you can see it. But like the color of the book plus that book palette, you can see its color matched to this, and it pulls out some of the blues and some of the yellows also from my book. So whenever I'm like, great, I really want this to look exactly like
Hmm.
the color of my book, I can go into my Pantone Connect and it's just one click, right? It's so simple. It's so fast. I can also download this as an image in case I want to say, if I'm working on a client's something or other, a client project, and I want to say, hey, I have this great palette for you. It's the Leafy palette, and I want to share it. I can download this now as an image, and then I can send it over to the client and say, like, this is your color palette, right? Or I can put it into a proposal. So that's another easy way that I can also add in things, or I can even link to it from Pantone Connect. I can send them the link to it. So as we're going through this, I want to scroll back up. I want to show something else that maybe you're familiar with, maybe you're not familiar with. This is something that was really, when I started poking around Pantone Connect more, I thought this was so cool. So I have something that's called a color story. I'm going to open up my color
Oh,
story and let's see if this will let us open it up. So this is my color story. If you could see before, and I'm going to go back actually to it. So you can see these are some graphics that I put in that I'd already designed around my book, and I wanted to pull out colors from it. So these are all the colors that come from existing graphics, which I think is pretty
oh
cool,
wow.
right? So from here, I can take, so if your client or whoever you're working with, I shouldn't always say client, if you are designing something and you've designed a large batch of graphics and you say, you know what? I really like the color palette that I did from those graphics. What you can do is you can upload a color story, you can upload this image, and then you sample colors from there. So these are colors that are pulled directly from this image, and they become this color story palette that then I can apply directly to another file, which I think is pretty cool because then you have that consistency, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is great. So basically, even like let's say you build a mood board for a client, you
Yes.
can add it in and then
Yes.
everything transforms. This is like a massive workflow implementation that is really, really cool. And we have a question here
Yes.
from a design studio by Anna Brackett. and
Okay.
saying that loved working with Pantone colors and like basically had some issues with Pantone Connect, but like is excited to try it. So basically, yes, like we have this whole demo for you, Anna. So this is great.
Yeah, so I hope that you try it out. And also, specifically, you'll need to download the add-on. So just letting you know, you'll need to download the add-on. You'll also need access to Pantone Connect Premium. So you will need to have that already, have an account, be signed in, and be paying for that. But I think, Izzy, there was a special promotion, right?
Yes. So
Yes.
actually, Jackson, if you may drop that link again, but Pantone is giving a like discount on Pantone Connects, specifically for Adobe users and for all of you watching today. So this is a massive bonus. I would say hop on that because this is wonderful, and I can personally already see ways to implement this in my workflow. So I hope that all of you can see that too.
Yes. So I want to click here because this is just another tab. And from here, once again, we can go pick, we can extract, we can do the color story, we can do color data, we can do color insider. I want to really, oops, I want to not click on that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this lavender color, and I want to show that you can do several things. You can do color data, you can do shades, you can do harmonies. So for those of you who are out there that are less of a gut feeling, this makes sense. And the palette person, I want to click on this because I want to show that it will basically pick out this color. First of all, it's showing that it's in my Peachy Keen palette that I already created. But here are analogous colors, which not to define words on this live stream, but these are the similar colors, right? You can already see
Yes.
that visually. So these are going to be the similar lavenders to our beautiful lavender. And then shockingly, because my favorite color is green, the complementary color for this lavender color, of course, is a green. It's a mint green. I know this green very well. And from here, I can literally also still like, watch this. Yay, I'm clicking. I'm clicking here, I'm clicking there. I can click and choose all of these different colors that are once again harmonies. So these are similar colors, complementary colors, monochromatic colors, split complementary colors, triadic colors. You know what? I'll be honest, I don't know what that word means, but they look like more similar colors. Izzy, can you define that one?
Yes, so basically
Yes.
it's like you have your primary, secondary, and then triadic color, and then this is like the third step, and then
Yes.
the tetradic is the fourth step, like after that.
We are learning so much, including myself, on this live stream, and it is so fun. So I just wanted to keep showing. So this is, of course, harmonies that we can do, and then I want to see if this will work. Sometimes it works, sometimes there's human error with me, Goldie, with it. But what I wanted to show is swatches. So hopefully everyone can see it. It's probably incredibly tiny, so I apologize. But if you can see, I'm going to click on this. And in my swatch tiles, you'll see some of them have, and I'm just going to click on a couple more of them. Some of them have what looks like a little dot in the corner, and that is, if I hover over it, if you can see that, it says literally Pantone 14-5618 TPG. So these are actual Pantone colors. What is neat about this, of course, as you know, is then I don't need to try to search for the Pantone color independently. I can then look at that Pantone color and say, this is exactly the Pantone color that I want. It's just so much easier when you're having to go to, especially print. Oh my gosh, whenever you're printing, as somebody who loves to print physical items, I think that it's so much easier to know the Pantone color that you're working with going to print. So then I can know, like on my little bookmark, what really is this shade of green? What Pantone
Mhm.
shade is that color?
Absolutely. If I may add to that, and
Yes.
by the way, I want to say that Pantone is in the house today. Everyone, Pantone is in the chat. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation.
Yes.
This is
Yeah, if
like
you have
really
any
cool.
technical questions about Pantone that we're not answering because I am not internal at Pantone, and I'm not sadly all knowing of the Pantone, please ask those questions in the chat, and Pantone folks are standing by and they can answer some of those questions too.
So, for some of you who are watching that are new to Pantone colors, and you might be asking, what is the difference between CMYK and Pantone?
Yes.
So, can we go into that a little
Yeah,
bit,
Izzy,
Goldie?
I definitely want you to handle this one, so I I don't want to mess this one up. So please go into what is the difference.
So basically your CMYK is like the regular inks that you would get from a printer. A
Yep.
Pantone, because it has this color code, it you know that it will be whenever you use that ink, you know that it will be consistent throughout all of your products, whether it's
Yes.
physical, whether it's printed on coated, uncoated, because this is like it's like a mix of inks that is like prepared in a specific way with using those like special combinations of inks together. And Pantone, if I'm not doing this right, please feel free to correct me. um, but it so that way you know that is like I said, I think the key word here is consistency.
Mhm.
And again, as a brand designer, and for someone who is talking about personal brand yourself, right,
Right.
Goldie, having that consistency, how people recognize you, it is so important. Like I know for a fact that Pepsi have, or is it Pepsi or Coke? But they have their own shade of Pantone. So they like so everything
Mm-hmm.
is like the exact same color
Mm.
throughout like their whole sets of products. And this is like branding to me.
Yeah, this is branding 101 to me. This is
Hmm.
visual branding, right? Because I think it's funny because having written a book, right, which is words, it is text branding, but it talks about visual branding. So like it even in my book, I talk a little bit about color theory and how we think about different colors. So for example, and Izzy, I know you love colors. So let's talk a little bit more about just colors in general and why we love colors, the way both of us love colors. But thinking through just basic 101 color theory, like when we have a blue like this, it's so soothing. It's so calming, right? When we
Hmm.
select like any of these gray blues, but when we pick, I'm just going to go over to here on the right side. When we pick this cherry red, it's more energetic.
Hmm.
It's more
Absolutely.
lively. Yeah. And so when you're
Yes.
thinking about your own brand colors and you're thinking about what should my maybe even primary brand color be for a particular project, I think it's helpful to think like, what is the emotion,
Absolutely.
right? That you
So,
want to bring out of the
mhm.
color.
I actually have a question for you because like
Yes.
you're so into the color green and the color green can mean so many
Right.
things. So I want to
Right.
know what's your definition for choosing green as your main branding color.
So I love the color green because to me, and having like plants in the background, to me, green is the color of growth. It's the color that when you first see sprouts come out of the ground. So like almost every single plant, regardless of the color it becomes, starts out as green. And
Mm,
I think that's wonderful. I think that's so
that is
cool.
wonderful.
And I just, I love plants and trees, and I also think, green is the color, at least in the US, of money, so that's cool too. But yeah, green to me just reminds me of something uplifting and cheerful and happy. And so
Hmm.
I think that's why I personally love green. And I know that green has a ton of other meanings. Actually, I'm curious, what are some other meanings that you've heard of or you think of when you hear the color green?
Well, I think about health for sure
Mm-hmm.
because like
Hmm.
green means like fresh produce and like greenery salads. So when it comes to like consuming like the color
Right.
green or green juice,
Mhm.
spinach.
Right.
But green definitely for me means prosperity, growth, as you said. It's like I mean I live in Canada, so for sure here we have a lot of greenery,
You do.
a
It's
lot
really
of
beautiful
trees.
in Canada.
Yes, and we're right now actually everything is orange because it's
Yes.
fall, but
Excellent.
green is definitely nature. It's its richness. And as you said, that's also the color of money, which I also associate
I'm
green with
picking out this
money.
color for you because this to me, I just was actually in South Dakota and everything is starting to turn orange, red in South Dakota. In LA, we don't get this. We just get brown. We just get this. We get death. But in
Oh.
South Dakota, things were genuinely like turning like they were turning this like ombre.
Yes.
I'm saying this word completely wrong. Sorry, chat. Beautiful orange color, right? And so you get kind of like I feel like this quadrant is fall to me,
It is
right?
absolutely yes, and it has a different smell too. When this the
Oh,
leaves
yeah.
start changing, it's
Yep.
like it's magical.
It's so
That and the
magical.
pumpkin spice latte, that's like happy. That's happiness right there.
Wait, I love this. Okay, we just talked about pumpkin spice latte, so we're going to do something extra special for this live stream. I'm going to go and we're going to switch over into Adobe Express and we're going to take some of these files and we're going to design. While I do that, Izzy's going to share some more about fall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, we have like some comments about Pantone in the chat here saying that just like coming back to what we were talking about, like having that consistency
Mhm.
and saying that's correct. PMS, Pantone matching system ensures color consistency every time to save time and any rework. And thank you so much for checking the facts on me, Pantone. It is Coca-Cola, and they saying this is a perfect example. Color and branding is so important, and we couldn't second that more. This is like I said, cherry on top of the sundae. Like people think that branding is just a logo. Mm-mm. Color has so much to do with it.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into Adobe Express right now. If we can switch over to Adobe Express for me. Thank you so much. I'm trying to minimize my toolbar because now I see Adobe Express and then right when I want to look to the right, I see this beautiful zoom. So what is so cool is I've actually taken my Adobe Illustrator file, my .ai, and I've dropped it into Adobe Express. And here is the coolest part. It conserves my layers. So I have all of these beautiful and delightful layers. We are now in a totally different program. We're in a totally different world. We're in Adobe Express. And now that we're in Adobe Express, we are going to do some more designing. So what I'm going to do is actually open up my brand kit and I want to show something cool. I have also just like a million brand kits at this point. So excuse my brand kits. I have this one that's
No.
a book marketing brand kit, and
Ooh.
I have a couple things. I'm just going to click on it. So what's so cool, we don't want that, so we're gonna minimize that, but we don't want this so big. What is so cool is with the brand kit, it's really one click. So this is, say, my logo. I can drop this logo in here. I can move things around. I can move this so it's in the corner of this. This is me literally live designing with my brand kit. But because we're in fall season, and because I like to be a little bit unhinged, because who doesn't like to design live, we're going to make this fall themed. Because
Yes.
we just talked about pumpkin spice lattes. So I'm going to go and actually I'm going to go ahead and once again, I'm going to go to my brand kit. I think I do have a brand kit that's maybe a little bit like that's right. This one has a little bit more fun
Love
colors
it.
and I can do dreamy drinks. And what's cool is whenever I click on my color palette here in Adobe Express, it will change it to two of those colors until I get a color that I really like. Now, this feels really fall. I'm going to actually backspace. I'm going to delete that. And I'm now going to go through and we're just going to live design something very fall, um, very fall aesthetic. Sorry, I'm going to get back into that. And we are going to go ahead and pick some stuff out. I'm going to click on add content. And from here, I can do add media, add elements, add charts and grids, add generative AI. I'm going to go into elements and we're going to look for pumpkins.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I
Well,
love this. So suggestions, pumpkins and leaves, pumpkin and gourds, pumpkins and flowers, pumpkins for sale. What? Pumpkins and apples. you know what, we're gonna let's see what
Yeah, I was
fall
gonna say.
leaves and pumpkins look like. So like I can immediately one click change my background. And of course, we're going to change the stuff around it because this is now unreadable. But there we go. Isn't that so nice? This was
That's
an instant
amazing.
change so fast. This is now our design that we created. We really figured out the Pantone colors that we wanted. And that's the other cool thing. I do want to pull up that when I worked on these brand colors, one thing that's very nice is I can go into Illustrator, I can pick out my optimized Pantone colors, and then I can create a color palette. I can take that, drop it into Adobe Express, and then really color pick. So I'm using the same colors because we want to make sure, once again, that we have that beautiful color consistency that we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
before. So I want to add in some more elements. I am going to go in and ask for more pumpkins. Now, Izzy, what else reminds you of fall? So I can start adding in some of those other
Mm.
things too.
I mean, yeah, pumpkins for sure. I mean, leaves, we already have that.
Yep.
To me, I guess like
And
to
I'm gonna
me, it's
flip this around.
like wearing cool jackets because I
Oh
love
my
wearing
gosh.
jackets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's look for a jacket. Let's look for a coat. Maybe that's what it'll be called in here. A coat, not a coat of arms, but a coat. Here we
A
go.
coat. There you
Wait,
go.
actually, let's look at stickers. You know, I almost never they like this is so cute.
This is
This has
cute.
nothing to do with my book, and we're gonna for sure design it like it does have something to do with my book. So here we go. Here is a little sticker. Here we go. It's somebody waving because we want this to be very fall. Let me move up my text so it has room.
This is
And
a
then,
really cold fall day. If they have like a hat on and mittens and all that,
yeah,
that's
this
close
is
to winter.
This is, yeah, we're getting, this is maybe a little bit more wintry than we want it to be. I'm going to move this down below because we want everything else to. And look how easy it is for me in Adobe Express to just drag and drop everything and move layers around. I'm doing this totally with just my mouse right now, right? So this is really, we're clicking and dropping. And I also want to show for folks who may not know, one of the neat things in Adobe Express is with any of these elements, I can add on, say, a duotone. So I can make this become green, even if it isn't a green asset. And it can be naturally green. I can also do it as a grayscale or I can darken it. But let's just say I want it to be this pastel color. And then I can do the same effect, which is so cool. So cool on the other element. So now these two elements match. They're matching elements, which is pretty neat.
That's
So
wonderful.
this is very, very cool. I also want to say now I can play this and it waves.
Look at this.
Isn't that cool? So now my book plate is doing double duty. Now it can become basically a social media post because now it's animated. In fact, I want to show something pretty fun that I don't know if people know that you could do this, which is you can, let me go into this. You can animate all. So I don't know, Izzy, if you've jumped into this at all,
Yes.
but you can literally with one click have everything animated. So I'm going to animate everything in here. So everything animates, everything glides in. I can also do this, which I really like that.
I
I
really
really
like that
like
too.
that it pops, right? Who doesn't like that it pops? It's very fun that it pops. Let's just see what
I
else we
mean,
can do.
it depends from where it's coming, right? When it's
Right.
from the client, make it pop,
Make it pop.
cringy. From
Right,
us
cringy.
designers and
From
creatives,
the
it's
designers and
good.
creatives, it's good. It's good
It's
when
good.
you say to the client where I'm going to make it pop and then they like it. So
Yes.
this saves us so much time. I remember animating by literally doing the still image, still image, still image, still image, right? So this
Yes.
saves us that time of doing some of that animation, especially on, say, something that is a quick social graphic. That's going to be so much faster to just do this. So now we have our first, just happy fall, I would say, graphic, which is fun. We're animating some pieces together. We've changed the colors. Actually, a new thing that's so fun is some of these other,
Oh,
some of these,
that's fun.
woo. Um, one of these things, let's just make this pop. I just think it's really funny to say that out loud. Or we can have it flash, right? So now this becomes, now it flashes
Look
in.
at
So
that.
it is just, there's so many different animation styles that you can do in here. But we're still making this fall. So I want to go through and I'm going to see what other elements. This person is very cold, which is very funny. So when I think of fall, let's actually just type in fall. Let's see what fall gives us. So sometimes when I'm designing, especially when I'm not quite sure what I want to design,
Oh,
I will, this
this
is
is
really
nice.
cool. I like this one. This looks very neat. So sometimes
I
when I'm
mean,
not sure, right? And that
hmm.
feels so cool in 3D. So suddenly I have something that looks like very 3D, very fall forward, fall appropriate. I don't know, farm to table, fall. That works for this particular design. So that's one thing. If you ever get stuck, sometimes what I just do is I just type in literally the word into media and I just get some ideas. I don't know if Izzy, you ever do this. What do you do when you get stuck on a design and you're like, I don't know what else to add or how to change this?
I just try whatever. Like I'm just like, hey, I'll just
Yeah.
like this is offered. I'll just see what it does, and then it's like, what if it sparks creativity? So it's nice that we have the menu in Express.
Hmm.
So then, or the like, just like click around and see what pops up, because then you just click and drag, and then see if it makes sense, and then edit, add more stuff, and that's usually how I whenever I'm stuck. How about you? How do you do that? Like to get out of a funk?
Yeah, so here also I've just added a little video that's fall inspired. One thing that I do, which is like the most counterintuitive thing, is I literally go outside, I go
Mm.
physically outside, as long as it's not super cold. And I live in Los Angeles, so cold for me is incredibly wimpy. So it's probably for you, probably just fall weather. For me, I'm like, it's too cold outside. But I like to go outside. And also, I will say this, I don't know if you all can see, but behind me, maybe we can get a close-up of this. If we switch just quickly to this, I finally set up my books, and I love to have a color gradient of books. So my second
Oh.
shelf is like a color gradient of all my Junji Ito horror books. Let's go back to Express. And and I like to have things that make me think of different colors. So like I said, I have just all my green pens. I don't know if you do that, but I just like to have a lot of colorful
Mm-hmm.
little elements. I'm a stuff maximalist. So like the more stuff I have kind of like on my desk to spark inspiration, the better for me.
I mean, I don't know. We can also see my bookshelf in the back. That's like,
Yes.
there's a lot of stuff up here. So, me too. And this is the organized one. On my desk here, it's chaos. Like, you can't see it because I like
Yeah.
cleaned it up to here. But
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
front, it's chaos.
I'm sure it's absolutely, yeah, you can't see, there's a reason why I'm not showing the front of my desk either. It is definitely chaos, but it's definitely, look here. Okay, so now what we've done is we've created this beautiful moving video that's, and I agree. I actually think that they do look a little too wintry. So I'm going to select something a little bit more fall, but look how cool this looks.
This is
This
great.
literally looks like we are now in fall. Like to me, this feels very fall. It was so fast for me to animate this. And and if you're working on different projects, there's also so much in Adobe stock photography, is what I wanted to say, where you have all of these stock photos and stock videos that you can use. And ta-da, look at this. It's like a fun little walking video of two people, and this is totally brand safe to use. So I think something, Izzy, we were talking about before that I want to bring up again is like talking about brand safe and how helpful it is that Pantone colors are brand safe because they are so consistent.
Absolutely. And that so something too that I love about the Pantone Connect, like when we were in Illustrator, is that we also have the CMYK version, and
Yes.
you also brought that Illustrator file into Express, and it kept those colors, and then that's like if I think even RGB. at
Yes.
the moment. So it's like it kept everything consistent because like everything is talking to one another within the Adobe suite, which is amazing. And I mean, you like, of course, I'm an advocate, but there's like, it's you cannot ask for better for a workflow because it's just easy to connect everything together, give everything to the client, work in a consistent way. You cannot
Yeah.
ask for better, really.
Yeah. So I think it's really helpful to have something that is going to help you be so consistent because I think so many of us, I don't know about you, I have 20 million files, right?
Oh
My
yeah.
files are called like final one, final 1A, final 1A B, right? Or 1A one because they wanted a second version, but they wanted like slightly different, but they didn't want to move past 1A. So I'm sure that you also have a million of these files too that are
Oh
all
yes.
written like that.
Yes.
So
But
I'm
I
just writing this 28th. I'm putting my book launch day. This is the
oh
28th. That's bad writing. Ignore my guys. Please, I'm a working writer. 28th of October. There we go. 28th of October, 2025. Wow, this is a really, I'm having a hard time thinking through how to say this. So this is just something I want to also show that you can do in Adobe Express, which is with text. If you don't want to do just straight text, they have buttons, they have dates and periods. So this is a date and period that I picked out that now when I play this, ta-da, this is like the launch day for my book. So this could be a social post that I post tomorrow on the launch day of my book. So I think that that's super helpful. And that is, this is like a nice way to also design if you need to do quick designs, which is you can add in these graphics. So I don't have to go back into Illustrator or Photoshop and design. I can pull out one of these different pre-designed elements. And of course, Adobe Express has a ton of templates, so I didn't need to necessarily, and I'm just going to show this. I really like this one. This one is fun. Um, I didn't need to necessarily go through and design everything from scratch. I could have used a pre-existing template and then also designed. But yeah, Izzy, another question that I definitely want to ask you is, okay, we talked about what we do when we're a little bit stuck. What do you do when you're overwhelmed?
I cry.
That's so
So,
real. That's so real. That's so
so
real. Who?
sometimes you just need like a 5 minute cry and then
Yeah.
it's like you shake it off and it's like okay, you're good. It's literally like the movie like the Disney movie where sadness just like lets the imaginary
Yeah.
friend cry and it's like okay, I feel better. That's what I do. What
Yeah.
about you?
Um, Crying is so real. I almost don't want to even answer because I feel like all of us go through the crying part of that. Um, okay, I will sometimes just take a step back and just be like, okay, this feels all overwhelming. How can I make this so it feels less overwhelming and do it in steps
Mm-hmm.
instead of, trying to do 20 million things at once? I'm very much a 20 million things at once personality type though, so I shouldn't even be talking. But I think sometimes it's helpful to take a step back and be like, okay, what's one small thing? So if I had to design 50 graphics today, that's
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming. But if I said, okay, I'm going to design, if I need to also design them from scratch, I will design 10 graphics and maybe see if the client or whoever I'm working with is okay with me iterating on those 10 initial graphics, right? And doing slight tweaks and things like that. Um, I always think like if there's a way to do slightly less work, that's always good, right? Or to do everything in smaller steps,
Exactly. I think the way you're doing it is so healthy because it's like taking the task that's in front of you and just like dissecting it down to just like not see it as a big mountain and you're seeing
right?
it in like mini increments instead. And
Right,
this is a lot less scary. That's
right.
like that's really good for everyone who's watching. This is a really good tip because as designers, and I know I'm talking for myself too, sometimes I do wait at the last minute. And some I don't, are
I
you
mean,
like
who
that too?
doesn't? Who
Yeah, it's
doesn't? Right?
It's hard, specifically if you do a lot of things at the time. Sometimes you don't even have a choice but to do it at the last minute because you had a million things to do before that was due before.
Right. Right. You were working on the other things that were urgently due. So I don't know if
Exactly.
anybody saw what I was doing just now, but I was literally clicking on, once again, just the brand color palette. Um, and if I just click on it, it will turn everything to one of these approved colors. And this is such a fast way to apply colors that are already approved for your color palette in Adobe Express. So I hope that this is fun for everyone to see how fast this can be. And once again, one thing that I can also do is I can go into my elements and I can animate all again. So I can,
Ooh.
yeah, so there. So everything I just added in now becomes completely animated. And then I have a video in the background, so I'm really doing double duty here. I'm like animating against a animated background. So putting this against a video, but as you can see, it's so fast. So that's what we want is we want to create ease, we want to create quickness in our different, videos that we're making and we're doing. And Izzy, how much time do we have left? Because I'm
We have 4 minutes left before
four
we wrap
minutes.
up. So if you want
Okay.
to show talk about your book,
Yeah.
show like the assets that you did for your book, I think that could be really fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so not to get into my home screen of things I'm actually working on, but here is some of the final assets that are the digital versions of what I worked on. So ignore all these pages. That's me actually working. So this is the final asset that I did. Here's actually a bookmark that I did
Oh,
also.
cute.
So this is kind of like final assets, and then I have this, which let me just pull these out. Once again, I have like this little, pull it up close, it's hard to see. I'm probably going to redesign this. Ha ha ha. This is a bookmark, but on the back, like what is helpful, this is also just hopefully sales 101. I don't know if this is helpful for anyone who's listening and watching this, but one of the things I do is I put the QR code. I love QR codes. I'm a big weirdo. I'm such a QR code fan, and I created this QR code in Adobe Express. It took me 2 seconds to do that. And the cool thing is now I can hand this out to pretty much anyone and they can scan this QR code and it gives them my website. So use the QR code for anything. You can put it on your business card. You can put it, I also like to put it on the backs of stickers that I give out and things like that. So that way it's a little bit easier for people to scan and to get access to me or like whatever I'm trying to direct them to. So sometimes that's my LinkedIn, sometimes that's my personal website if they're a potential client or a brand that I might work with. Also, sometimes that's literally being able to buy my book online. So I think you can literally create cool looking assets around almost anything that you're promoting. And especially if you use Pantone colors, everything is also way prettier.
It's definitely that vibrant color and again that consistency with Pantone. Oh my goodness. Okay, so as we are wrapping up,
Mhm.
we have learned so much today. We started with like Pantone Connects, how to use them, how to color pick, how to
Right.
change the colors within your design. We also looked at the analogous colors, the secondary complementary colors within Pantone, the color list. We also then went into Adobe Express and then designed a campaign around the book with animation, like animating everything. And Goldie, you will be at Adobe Max.
Yes, I will be at Adobe Max. I think you will also be at Adobe Max, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So
absolutely.
we will both be at Adobe Max. So if you are watching this or listening to this and you will also be attending Adobe Max, please come and say hi to us. I know that because I'm a swag person, I will be carrying so many stickers and bookmarks and things. So, wow, you can get something that I designed live.
That is wonderful. Well, it's been wonderful. Please follow Goldie Chan on social media. Make sure to check out her book launch because for all of the introverts out there, this book is definitely for you. It looks wonderful. And I mean, thank you all for watching, and we will see each other again very soon. And stay tuned for more on Adobe Live. Bye, everyone.
Bye.